Hello and welcome to Beyond the Boundary. My name is Josh. It's fantastic to have you again for round 13 this week. I've got Nic to my right. How are you, Nic?
Yeah, I'm great. We just got over the line on Friday night. A bit shaky there.
And Vinay on my left. How are you, mate?
I'm good, Josh, as always.
That's very good to hear. All right, boys, our tips. We all tipped the same last week, so
8 out of 9 for all of us.
the tallies stay the same.
No difference.
But it was an interesting round of football.
I can tell you there might be a bit of a change in the overall leaderboard this week. There are some line ball matches.
Yes, absolutely. But just remember, we will release our tips on Friday night at 6 p.m. Finally, a normal round of football.
Yeah, final.
A Friday night, 5 Saturdays and 3 Sundays.
Thank goodness.
Hasn't happened since round 7.
About time.
About time.
Gee whiz.
Anyway, let's get into the games.
First game of the round is Carlton versus Hawthorn, 7:50 Friday at the MCG. Last time these two teams played, it was Hawthorn by 15 points. Guys, Hawthorn have won the last 10 encounters between these two teams. What do we think?
That's staggering. The last 10.
The last 10, yeah.
That is absolutely staggering. Watch Carlton on Friday night against Nic's boys, Geelong.
Yep, as we all, did enjoy that.
I gave this man a little bit of a roasting at the start of the year, but
TT?
No, Bryce Gibbs.
Oh, okay, all right.
But his game on Friday night,
Yep.
I'd go as far as say he's best for the club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
21 is best, yeah.
28 disposals,
29
goals.
29
29.
disposals, 4 goals.
4 goals.
Yeah.
He was absolutely outstanding. Best
stood
on
up
ground.
when it mattered for them. He was absolutely brilliant.
Best on ground
sure.
by an absolute mile. So
For sure.
I reckon Carlton will be itching closer and closer to get that contract signed before it's too late.
Yeah, for sure. He was taken as a number 1 draft pick. So, all these number 1 draft picks eventually, they will show you their skill. And I think he's done that. There was a bit of a period in the middle where he was being played as a tagger. He was played off half back. A lot of Carlton fans weren't too keen on that. They said he's an inside ball winner. Oh, sorry, he was a midfielder anyway. He should be played as a midfielder. One man that is also a very high draft pick that I do want to run by you is Sam Docherty. Now, he was part of the mass exodus at Brisbane. He was taken at pick 12 in 2011, so a very high first rounder.
Yep.
And he's been given his chance this year under Malthouse. He's played 5 games and he's averaged 20 touches, a goal, and 5 marks a game. So it's good to, and he's been in the top 3 for Carlton's disposal winners for the past few weeks. So he's someone that Carlton have got to look forward to because they've got some good young talent coming through.
Definitely. There's 2 players who really impressed me on Friday night and almost got them over the line. The first one is Daisy Thomas. He had 18 touches and 3 goals. He just popped up in the right areas. Looked really, really composed when he got his chances and took them to great effect. The other one was Troy Menzel, who's been really impressive over quite a few weeks now. 12 touches, 2 goals for him, and like Daisy Thomas, he just sort of popped up in the right areas, has a really good goal sense, and had a really big impact for Carlton. Almost got them over the line.
One thing I want to touch on before we move on to Hawthorn is supporters blaming the umpires. It's a massive pet hate of mine.
Well, it is a very controversial subject.
Let me name a couple of things, right?
All right.
Carlton led the game twice by 16 points.
Correct.
They let go of that lead. Mm-hmm. Brock McLean wasn't goal side of Joel Selwood when he kicked the winning goal. How is that the umpire's fault?
Yeah.
Carlton, as I said, led by 16 points. How is that the umpire's fault? I hate it. There's always a point in time in the game where a player or your team could do something better.
And the fact that they sort of make it sound like that one free kick that wasn't paid late in the game is worth more than a free kick that might not have been paid earlier in the game. They even each other out. It's just the timing. It just looks bad when it happens right at the end like that. And there was things like Sam Rowe was too proud to let Jamison come onto Hawkins. He should have got off him straight away before Hawkins kicked 4 1/4. Things like that had a much bigger impact on the game than just one decision later on.
Absolutely, and I feel I will say the umpiring was very, very ordinary, but it was for both sides.
Yeah,
both sides it was very, very ordinary. However, an umpiring decision does not cost you a game of football. Simple as that. Never ever cost you a game of football.
It is a very controversial topic. There will be a lot of Carlton fans, I'm sure, that'll think that
that will disagree, and that's fine.
That's fine. You're entitled to your opinion, but I think I'm probably very lukewarm on this subject. I'm not going too far one way or the other. I feel that umpires do have a degree of control over the game, and I don't say that in a bad way because they do a very, very difficult job. Believe it or not, AFL umpiring is probably just as, if not more, difficult than most sport. It's extremely subjective. It's always what the umpire thinks. There's no objective standard that you can use. But like you said, Josh, I definitely agree on your point that it's not right to blame the umpires for a loss. You can blame an umpire for a wrong decision. You can say, well, that was, ordinary. That cost us a goal because it was a poor decision. But you can't say we lost. The only reason we lost, or the biggest reason that we lost, was because of the umpires.
Absolutely.
It's counterproductive. You can't improve that, can you? If you look at things like what you said about Brock McLean, you can improve that. But you can't improve the umpires per se. You can't go to the umpiring association and be like, you guys need to improve this. So, very counterproductive.
Boys, the Hawks, they played your boys down at Aurora Stadium. You were with them for a half.
Quite a period of the game,
Yeah, quite a period of game. But after half time, that man Ruffy took...
Too rough. It was just way too rough.
Took Eric McKenzie to the cleaners. He-Mate's been very, very good this year.
He has.
And he took him to the absolute cleaners.
Yeah, it was difficult to watch because the first half, like you said, West Coast were very competitive. But to me, it always seemed like it was only going to be a matter of time before Hawthorn sort of, got the jump. I think that was just the class of Hawthorn that got us in the end. They were the fitter side. They were better over 4 quarters, and that's always what it comes down to. West Coast have got their own issues to sort out, which we'll look at later. But Hawthorn, I thought, leadership is very important. We see more and more in AFL today that leadership, every team, all the good teams have a leader that stands out, a general. At Sydney, you've got Jarryd McVeigh. Geelong, you've got Joel Selwood. Essendon, you've got Joe Watson. And Hawthorn of Luke Hodge. And he has time and time again stood up and led them. It's so obvious the way he does it. He had 28 disposals. He laid 7 tackles. And he also kicked a goal. So, and he turned it on in that second half. And I think that had a big influence on the way they played.
There's one thing I do like about Hawthorn. Well, there's a lot of things I like about the Hawks.
Oh, you're the biggest fan, Josh.
We'll create a little showcase at the end of all the good things that Josh has said about Hawthorn.
But it just says something about their depth. With a player like Luke Loudon that can come in, fill a role left by 2 pretty impressive ruckmen in David Hale and Ben McAvoy.
Yeah.
He comes in, kicks 3 goals, competes very, very well against Dean Cox and Nick Nat
Oh, for sure.
And has a brilliant game. It just says something about their depth that those players can come in and
do that kind of a job.
And have an impact.
It's just that Hawthorn culture. You make it to the team, they all just adopt this Hawthorn persona, which is, we're not going to be beaten, we're going to win this no matter what. And, I think, as you said, we saw that in Luke Loudon, who kicked 3 goals on debut.
Before we get into our tits, boys, I reckon we speak a lot about all Australians at this time of the year.
Yes,
who's in contention. But I reckon there's one player who is absolute dead set certainty to be in that side.
From Hawthorn?
From Hawthorn. That's Jordan Lewis.
Oh, all right. He's got a lot of competition in that midfield.
He has, but he's averaging 27 disposals this year. Yeah. That's 4 more than any other year that he has played in.
Okay, wow. He's definitely a very good player.
I think dead set certainly might be a little bit far, but he's certainly be extremely good.
He's from the Geelong Falcons football factory, so he's another one of those. Like the Dangerfields and the Abletts and the Bartells among us. So, he is a
good breeding ground down there.
Yeah, exactly.
Who are we tipping, boys?
Carlton, I think they really showed they've certainly made some improvement on their start of the season, which was very poor. They really took it up to Geelong on Friday night. So because of that, I think it'll be a little bit closer than it has been in recent weeks. I'm going to say Hawthorn by 26 points. Carlton will still be in the game, but Hawthorn will have too much class for them.
Okay.
I think we saw on Friday night that Carlton can be competitive when they want to.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
They have improved since the start of the year under the second year of Malthouse. A few players are starting to get games under their belt, like Thomas. Doherty's playing good football as well, like we said. I think they'll be competitive, but Hawthorn just far too much experience around the ground. They'll win by 22 points. Yeah,
it's interesting. We always say that Hawthorn are missing a lot of their experienced players, which is true. But Adam Simpson said something in the press conference before the game last week, and he said, they've lost a lot of experience, but they've still got 13 premiership players in there.
Yeah.
That is more than obviously any other side in the AFL. Probably bar Geelong. Sydney, yeah. So, they've still got a lot of experience, like you just mentioned, Josh. So, I think they will probably get the. It's very rare that you see them get upset by a lesser team. Yeah. They get beaten by the teams that are equal, but Hawthorn by about 30, boys.
Richmond versus Fremantle. It's 1:45 Saturday at the MCG. Last time those two teams played... What's wrong?
I'm sorry, just thought of Richmond for a second.
Last time those two teams played, it was Richmond by 27 points. Vinay touched on leadership before, and among other things, that is something these Tigers are lacking.
Let me just say, that is exactly what they're lacking right now. That is exactly what they're lacking. Every team has a general, and I might seem a little contradictory. It was only 2 weeks ago that I said Richmond will beat Essendon. They've got better players around the ground. I have outspokenly said that they have a good list. I don't agree with the people that think they have an absolute crap list. Their list is not as good as what it should be, given the amount of recycled players they've got. But it's not awful. It's just that they don't have enough leadership in there at the moment. You touched on the leadership aspect. Like every team is a general. Richmond do not have a general. In that second half, you saw Drew Petrie stand up for North Melbourne.
He went into the ruck and
there you go. Experienced
4 goals.
Experienced 250-odd gamer. Stood up and he said, something needs to go right. We're down by 7 goals or whatever. 6 goals.
6.
He stood up and he booted 4 and like you said, he went into the ruck. Andrew Swallow, man recovering from an ACL, lifted his output, ended up with 29 touches. Richmond fell asleep. Cochin missing. Martin went missing in that second half. Delidio went missing. Rewalt kicked his usual junk time goals.
You saw in that third quarter, it wasn't just North Melbourne really standing up and really pushing hard for that comeback. Everything, even the things in Richmond's control, was just going against them. It was like there was 50-50 situations where Richmond had this massive chance and then just give away a silly free kick. Yep. Time and time again. It was just happening too consistently in that quarter. And under the pressure of North Melbourne, Richmond just had no answer. They were they absolutely just self-destructive.
Yeah,
there were 2 very happy men after that game last night.
Nahas.
One was Robin Nahas, because he kicked two goals to put Richmond to the sword.
He's started a nice little
his former team,
and he's probably in that best 22 for North now. He's probably proven himself.
He's been very good since coming to the side.
Yeah.
And the other one, and we'll touch on him very quick. Well, we'll touch on him later, but very quickly now. That's Brendan McCartney. The Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're under a lot of pressure, but we'll get to that later.
I see, yeah, okay. It takes some of the attention away from them.
Yeah. Now, I've got a question to ask you.
Yes, go ahead.
You mentioned those names before, Cochin, Delidio, Martin. Martin probably not.
Martin played extremely well, but he's not what you look for in leadership potential.
No.
Right? So, yeah.
Bashir Hooley as well.
Yep.
Are these players exempt from being dropped?
Oh, it's a tough question. I'm going to say they need to be exempt. The reason I will say this is because I can think of players in that team that I have no idea what they're doing in that team. These men, yes, they've had somewhat average seasons.
Can I ask who's at the top of your list?
Pardon?
Can I ask who's at the top of your
list?
list?
In terms of average season?
Yeah. At that football club.
In terms of all their players, or the ones that you'd expect something from?
The ones you'd probably expect something from. He's been rubbed out for the next 2 weeks. He's at the top of my list.
Is it Brett Delidio?
No, it's Tyrone Vickery.
Has he been rubbed out? Oh, because for the headlock on Michael Fredo. He definitely probably be up there.
I'd be very surprised if he's at that football club next year.
Yes. I think he's a very high draft pick. He was a first rounder.
Yes.
And, he showed some promise last year. He was kicking goals. He was doing better than what he would. But he's gone the opposite direction. He got a reprieve. He got put into the 1s after a very average performance in the 2s. Not sure why he got brought up, and he just, what was he doing?
I'll tell you right now,
Unbelievable.
Vickery is not in the right sort of form and frame.
Mind frame,
to be going around and pushing other players around.
I have no idea. When I saw him putting him in a headlock, I thought, what are you doing, mate? You've gotten a chance. Essentially, it's like in cricket. You're in the seconds, you've made a duck, and then you've been put into the firsts.
Yeah.
And then you've just gone and thrown the ball at the umpire or something.
Sounds like my year. Anyway, Fremantle. They had a very good second half against Adelaide yesterday.
Yes.
They were in a tight tussle early.
They pushed very hard.
They were.
Ross was not happy at half
No,
time.
he wasn't.
He was not happy.
Speaking of Ross,
yes,
since he started coaching, he has lost once to Richmond. Once.
Jeez.
And that was the last time they played, when I think Fremantle had Pavlich, Sandilands, Fife and Barlow out.
Yeah.
Well, so
Fremantle.
Richmond still had to win, which they did. But that is the only time Richmond has beaten a Ross Lyon.
I don't think it's the same Richmond.
No,
it's not the same Richmond. They've got more or less the same list, but it's not the same Richmond at the moment. Aaron Sandilands, surely all Australian form at the moment. Surely.
Yeah, he'd be up there.
38 hitouts.
He dominated his probably only competition at this stage in Sam Jacobs on the weekend. So
and maybe Mummified. Mummified had a big game as well on the weekend.
He's missed
a few, but he's in extremely good form.
Absolutely.
But Sandlands had 20 disposals, 38 hitouts, 8 marks, 3 were contested. He was absolutely dominant. And, it makes a difference having a guy that big on your team that can, put in the aerobic work and make his way around the ground.
Take a good running bounce.
Yeah.
And something good running bounce.
Something you don't see every day.
And then
Aaron Sandilands taking a bounce.
Oh, for sure. He looked up. He had absolutely no one in front of him. Good on the bloke for trying, you know.
The first one was good, and then he goes, "Oh, I'm all right at this. I might take."
He's tried another one, and then he's handballed it up and done a little hit out to the man standing next to him. But one big man that I do want to quickly mention, pathetic. I don't know why he's in the Richmond side, and I don't know why.
We're going back to Richmond, are we?
Yeah, but I just really want to mention him. We didn't get to. Sam Lloyd should be in that team, first of all.
Yep.
He must be in that team. Ben Griffiths. Why, Damien Hardwick, are you playing 4 ruckman? He's not a forward.
Griffiths is not a ruckman.
No, he's not a forward. He's been playing in the ruck. He's been having...
As a chop out.
As a chop out, but he's still being played as a forward ruckman.
It was like Carl Hooker 3 years ago when he played in the ruck. Because we had no one to...
But the thing is, they've got 3 rucks, though. They've got Hampson, Vickery, and Marich is back.
Yeah.
There is no reason. And then, okay, let's forget the ruck part of things. Let's see if he kicks goals. He's kicked 0 in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And he had 3 disposals in the game against... I don't know why he's in the team. I'm sorry. I really don't like...
One quick thing before we give our tips, boys.
Yes.
I just want to touch on one player, Paul Duffield. I think he's seriously underrated.
He is.
As a running defender, he had 27 disposals against Adelaide on the weekend, kicked the goal as well from half-back. I think he's seriously underrated and deserves more recognition.
Him and Michael Johnson off that half-back flank.
Absolutely, and every player had 10 or more disposals against the Crows yesterday, and that's something you don't see very often, so it's good to see.
Including they don't really have that kind of a game style, you know.
Absolutely, so it's good to see a good team win.
Good call, boys. Who are the tipperoos going to?
I will be tipping Fremantle by 31 points. I've seen a pattern of late with Fremantle in that they control their way to the lead and they don't see it necessary to really flog the sides. They just sort of get to this sort of 5 or 6 goal margin. They just sort of hold them there. So Fremantle by 31 points.
Yes, I was about to say the Sydney Port Adelaide tip then. I just can't tip Richmond. Fremantle by 19.
Yep, Fremantle to me, boys. Simplest tip all week, probably. So I'm going to go Fremantle by about 20 as well. 30.
Match of the round, it's like Geelong St.Kilda might give you a bit of a run for your money there.
Collingwood Bulldogs too.
Match of the round,
Brisbane, mate.
Sydney versus Port Adelaide.
It's
2:10 Saturday at the SCG. Last time these two teams played, it was Port Adelaide by 18 points, guys. It's first versus second, if I'm not mistaken.
Location.
First versus third.
Location, boys.
Yeah.
If this game was the Adelaide Oval, Port, I'd say.
Yeah.
I think the location is a big thing to do with this game. It is being played at the SCG. Sydney have been in spectacular form, it must be said. They did away with Gold Coast. They had a bit of a trouble in the first quarter, but they eventually got there. One man I want to run by you, Josh, is Ben McGlynn.
Yeah, he's had a very, very good season.
A very good season. He had 22 disposals and he laid 9 tackles.
There's 3 former Hawks there that I reckon Hawthorn would like back. That's McGlynn, Kennedy and Franklin.
Yes. Oh, wouldn't that
with their injuries, of
deadly
course.
combo, yeah.
Full strength, they might be okay.
Yeah. But
at this point in stage, I reckon they'd like them back.
Definitely. McGlynn went off in the last quarter, got a knee to the side of the head.
Yep.
I think he'll be all right for this week. But his tagging effort on Gary Ablett, for the first half, he kept him very quiet. Ablett had a lot of the ball, which he always does, but his efficiency was low. He wasn't impacting, scoring changes as much as he'd like to. I think he'd kicked a goal or something by then, but he's done very well. He's played as a tagger, come midfielder, come small forward. And I think he's been very key to that straight up.
I'll tell you what, boys, I've got a man crush on this man.
Ben McGlynn?
No. The man I want to talk about.
Who is he?
Robbie Gray.
You do. And I think I do now as well, to be honest.
25 disposals, 4 goals.
4 goals.
I mean, I don't give the votes in the games I'm not involved in for the page.
Yep.
I only give the votes for the Essendon game.
Yep.
I was absolutely staggered that neither the St Kilda rep or the Port Adelaide rep themselves gave Robbie Gray.
Who gave him 3?
Hartlett. He had 36 touches.
Oh, fair enough.
Wingard got 2 and Matthew Lobe got 1.
He didn't get a vote.
No, he didn't get a vote. That's what I'm saying.
Jeez, that's stiff. It's
under the radar, man.
Very, very stiff.
25 bloody...
I said to them, gee, Robbie Gray's kicked 4 goals and had 25 touches. It's a bit stiff, isn't it? I thought these 3 had a better game. Okay.
Stiff call, but
they're cool.
He's a very, very good player. He's in All-Australian form by far. He'd be on my half-forward flank for sure at the moment.
There's another All-Australian call.
He tackles well. He gets a lot of the ball. He kicks goals. He's a very, very clever player. And he's got a big fitness tank. Very hard to follow around all day. He pushes up a lot. So he's a very good player. Matty Lobey, on the other hand, did actually have an extremely good game.
Yep.
He's been good all season, Matty Lobey.
Yeah, he's a very good ruckman.
Almost a breakout season for him, where he's really stepped it up a gear.
For sure. 43 hitouts, a goal and 8 tackles.
I'll tell you one thing, they cannot afford for him to go down with an injury because you know why?
They have absolutely no one in the
Jarryd
reserve.
Roughead's gone for the rest of the year. Brent Renouf's
gone for the rest of the year. Who's going to do it? You might have to get big gunslinger
You might
shorts.
see Wingard up there on people's shoulders in the rugby.
Wouldn't mind that actually, putting Chad Wingard. No, okay.
I can't believe people are comparing his to Moorcroft's mark. It was a good mark, but not as good as Moorcroft.
Moorcroft's put him out of bloody commission for... Moorcroft's mark was so good that he ended his career.
It did.
when Wingard takes a mark good enough to end his career, then... but it was an extremely good mark.
I might be a little biased in that matter, but...
Oh, I thought Moorcroft's mark was better.
Yeah.
But
anyway.
This will be a very interesting game, boys. Even though it's at the SCG... there's a party that says Port could win this. There's just a small party that says Port Adelaide. They've got all their stars. Boak's coming back, and he's had a week.
Monfries as well.
And Monfries. And Travis Boak and Monfries have had a good break. Boak was rested for this game, I feel. I believe. Strongly, I believe.
General soreness.
Yep, the general claimed
The
him.
general hit him.
Yep, but he'll be back. And
Boys, I'm going to talk about him for once. I don't think I've spoken about him all year.
There we go.
This is the thug.
The thug? Why is he a thug?
Because he just goes around beating people up.
Okay.
He gets reported about 6 times a year. He's
Anyway.
worse than Stevie Johnson.
If you watch the show, you know who we're talking about. His last 4 games, he's kicked 14 goals.
Yep.
He's averaged 18.3 disposals
Very
and
good.
taken 6.25 marks, average. In his first 6 games, he's kicked 12 goals, averaged 13.3 disposals and 4.83 marks.
So he's at a purple patch.
He is.
His name is Lance Franklin, by the way.
If you're tuning in for the first time, we are talking about that.
Yes.
But ever since, as you said, ever since Tippett has come back in,
Yep.
he's freed up, and
Yep.
the last month has shown that the kind of player he is. And people said he was finished at the start of the year, which is
Yep.
absolutely ludicrous.
Yep.
And he's playing some of his best football. I know this guy doesn't agree with me, but he's playing some of his best football.
Oh, I do agree he's playing some of his best football. I just thought
He just
Hawkins
feels
was
told
better.
Hawkins
That was
doing better.
the
That was the argument.
That was the
But
argument there.
yes, you're right, Josh. He's having a super year. Tippett has helped him out a lot. Kurt Tippett did go off in that last quarter with a knee complaint.
The same knee, I believe, that it kept him out for the first 6 weeks.
Yes, and that looked
I
troublesome.
believe. I'm not 100% sure.
The reason I say it's troublesome is because he was doing some run-throughs at 3/4 time. He sustained the injury at the end of the 3rd quarter. And he seemed to struggle. The doctors were getting him to do, sort of sideway runs, backward stuff, and he was just struggling. He wasn't doing it very easily. And, Kurt Tippett, he's in such good form. You'd hate to lose him on the eve of the Port Adelaide game.
It's horrible for
Because, to me, Tippett goes, Franklin, bam, first 6 games.
Well, Reid was very good on the weekend as well.
He was.
I tell you what, my Supercoach draft side is having an absolute horror run this week. Tippett's gone, Watson's gone. I'm having a horror week. Anyway, there's one other player, Harry Cunningham. He's keeping Tom Mitchell out of the side at the moment.
He's a very cunning man.
He kicked 4 goals on the weekend.
He was brilliant.
He was brilliant, and he's keeping Tom Mitchell out of the side at the moment.
Where do they find these kids?
No idea. Joey Kennedy as well, another brilliant game. Is he a chance to win the Brownlow just quickly?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah?
For sure.
Nick?
Oh, he's up there with the chance. I just think it's funny how you guys think there's absolutely no chance anyone other than Ablett will win it. And now all of a sudden Kennedy's this huge chance.
To me, Ablett should win it every year that he plays AFL. Because he's the best player in the AFL.
Anyway, we'll talk about that in the Gold Coast.
Yes. Who are we tipping?
Who are we tipping? I'm going Sydney by 30 points.
Oh, come on.
However,
no.
because I think they're the team to beat this season.
30 points.
30 points.
I tell you what, it's because his Cats got flogged, and now he feels that every other team doesn't stand a chance. That's his.
Interesting.
Well,
That's
I'm
an
going for a
interesting
greater margin,
assessment.
so-
However,
Come off it.
if Kurt Tippett doesn't play,
Yes.
like we saw earlier on in the season, Franklin might struggle by himself and could be a little bit closer, and I would give Port Adelaide a bit of a chance if Kurt Tippett didn't play.
What do you mean a bit of a chance? What's that mean?
I reckon it could almost be a 50-50 game.
What do you mean? Who's going to win if Tippett? That's what I want to know.
Sydney will still win. Just.
Port Adelaide's last 2 games haven't been their greatest. I reckon if they were playing against a stronger opposition other than St Kilda, they may not have won. St Kilda did fall away in that second half, and while Port Adelaide did play well, I feel that if they were playing a stronger opposition, they might have been in a bit of trouble.
Perhaps not at Adelaide Oval as well.
Yeah, absolutely. They need to lift their game by 10-15% if they're to beat Sydney this week. But Sydney just far, far too strong for me at the moment. 37 points. It's crazy saying because Port Adelaide are on top with one loss for the year.
Yeah.
2 games clear, but Sydney are just absolutely flying at the moment.
Vinay?
We're on a time here, mate.
You know, I like stirring the pot, boys. You know, I like
He's
giving you a
thinking
shake.
about it.
I'm really tempted. Boak and Monfrey's are massive inclusions.
here
They've
we
managed to knock off Hawthorn. They managed to knock off Freo. Yes, they were both at the Adelaide Oval, but I don't know. I just like Port.
He's saying this because he's tipping Sydney.
No, it's a valid point though. They are on top of the ladder for
They are.
for a
They're
reason.
up for a reason. They haven't just slid up there through an easy draw. They've played some very strong teams.
They've beaten Geelong. They've beaten Hawthorn
And they've beaten Fremantle.
and beaten Fremantle.
So they've beaten-
all at the Adelaide Oval. So this is
Correct,
This is
yeah.
this is their test.
I don't think they'll pass the test, to be honest. But I'm going to tip Sydney by 6 points. I think it'll
6
be.
points.
I think it'll be very, very close.
Okay.
Honestly, because Port Adelaide getting Boak and Monfrey's back, people might not think so, but that's huge. That's massive. They're both very good players. So
Yep.
All right, next game.
West Coast versus Gold Coast. Here you go, Vinay. It's
we're not flying high.
4:40 Saturday.
Usually I would sing "We're Flying High" at the start of the West Coast preview. But we're not
4:40 Saturday at Patterson Stadium. Last time those two teams played, it was West Coast by 17 points. Gold Coast obviously have never beaten the Eagles before. What do you think for that?
Look, I think West Coast just didn't have a four-quarter effort. They've got all sorts of problems at the moment. We've got one of the best lists in the AFL. I'll continue to say that. When you've got that many first-rounders in your team, believe it or not, this is a stat that came to me during the week. West Coast have 17 first-rounders in their squad. That's the second most after GWS. That's actually more than Gold Coast. That's more than one of the expansion clubs.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of talent, and it's about time that something comes out of that talent. They need to put in a four-quarter effort, to be honest. Gold Coast will know very, very well that they're a good chance to win this. I don't know what to tell you. Josh Kennedy won't play, probably.
No, they reckon he's a good chance.
Okay. Well, it's at Patterson's, isn't it? So,
It is.
yeah, okay, yeah. That does make a bit of a difference. Really, it depends on the squad, to be honest, the team. Jeremy McGovern must get games. He must get another game. He's an
He
absolute
kicked
star.
2 goals, 15 disposals and 10 marks. He looked like the only forward that could cause a threat to Hawthorn
Correct.
on the weekend.
That is such a good point.
He presented very, very well. As I said, took 10 marks.
2 of them were contested.
Yep.
He's got, 4 of them were contested. He's got a great pair of hands. You've got to give the kid games. The problem is the midfield, and Gold Coast strength is their midfield.
Yep. This is what I feel West Coast need. They need more from their bottom tier players.
You're right. You're right. Yeah.
Jamie Cripps only had the 3 disposals.
He was very
on the
average,
weekend.
yeah.
Sherrod Williams been reduced to the sub lately. Matty Rosa as well hasn't had a great season.
Yeah.
Need more from those type of players.
Yeah.
It can't always be the same guys. I mean, Mark Hutchins came in, had 28 disposals.
Yeah.
He was great. But you can't keep expecting the likes of Luke Shuey, Andrew Gaffs, who's having a good year, Matty Pritis.
Pritis is just...
Can't keep expecting these guys to deliver the goods.
Do it alone.
Well, you know, West Coast can't blame injuries anymore. I refuse to say... Some West Coast fans feel injury. I refuse to say that that's the case anymore.
Well, who have you got out?
Waters, that's it.
Yeah.
Bo Waters is the only key player that I can remember right now.
Other than Kenny, who missed last
Josh
week.
Kennedy, yeah, but Bo Waters is the only player. And I refuse to think that him being back in the side is going to flip the results of all these games. He's a star player. He's one of the best, probably the best in my opinion on West Coast. But, you know...
I also feel, and I've said this to you before, off air, I feel you need to start pushing these kids in.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
definitely.
you're going to end up like St Kilda.
Very, very soon, West Coast is going to hit that wall and feel that they need to rebuild. It's better to change things sooner rather than later. I do think we need to see some changes here.
Cox is getting old. Glass is getting old.
Waters is getting
banged
up. He's
banged up. There's a few others there as well that are reaching that age.
Pritis
now.
is not a spring chicken anymore.
Absolutely. So you need to start getting these games in Dobbs Sheed and the like, and start redeveloping now.
Definitely. On the other side of the coin, Nick asked me before the game which coast I think will win. No, sorry. You said, do you think Coast will win? And I thought, which one? They're both Coast.
Gold Coast Suns.
The Gold Coast Suns. They played relatively well against Sydney. They had a good first half. They were in it for a good half. And then, they dropped off in the second half. They kicked the odd goal, but it just wasn't enough. That forward line is going to be difficult for the Eagles to contain. Easy Mac, like you said, has had a great season. Eric McKenzie. To have 8 goals kicked on you, that will pierce the balloon of confidence.
It's almost more goals in one game than he had kicked.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And now he's got Charlie Dixon, Tom Lynch,
Sam
and
Day
Sam
floats
Day.
floats down there. So
that is a difficult forward line to deal with. You've got Brandon Materia snooping around and Harley Bennell and
now, boys,
like.
Gold Coast next 4 weeks. This will really, really test them. They were flying early. They're still 7-4.
They'd won 5 in a row before coming into that. They're going against Sydney.
Sydney, okay. So they play West Coast obviously at Patterson's, Geelong at Metricon next week, then Hawthorn at Aurora Stadium, and then Collingwood back at Metricon. Now I know they beat Collingwood last year, but Collingwood are probably a better side than what they are last year.
Yep.
Hawthorn's flying. Geelong's flying. Maybe not flying, but
They're a good team.
Top 4, well, top 5. So
You just wait till Josh Caddy gets back, Josh.
oh, look out! There's a
Josh
ding.
Caddy.
There's a ding. We haven't had one for a while.
We'll get to that soon.
But this next month will really test them.
For sure. West Coast cannot handle pressure at the moment. Every single time they've been put under pressure, they've folded like a pack of cards. Hawthorn, they were winning West Coast by 2 goals at one stage. Hawthorn put the pressure on. They went to sleep. Same with Collingwood, couldn't handle the pressure. Same with North, same with Port Adelaide, same with Carlton. All games that were very close, Fremantle as well.
And you'd think Gold Coast coming into this game, they wouldn't look at the Hawthorn game next week and say, oh, we've got to rest players that way.
Yeah.
They'd say, this is the must-win game.
And they thrive on pressure,
Because
don't they? They love that pressure. They eat it up with a spoon.
that pressure will be white hot coming to West Coast this week.
Yep.
Zach Smith's come in with Tom Nichols out with that
And
posterior
he's been
cruciate.
much, much better, yeah.
But he didn't play a game in the knee for. He came straight in after a knee reconstruction. It's been absolutely magnificent. He had 39 hit-outs on the weekend. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Another one I want to talk about is Cade Kolajasny.
Yeah.
Do not rule him out for the Rising Star.
I haven't.
Everyone says Tom Langdon and Luke Dunstan are the front runners.
Yeah.
Do not rule out Cade Kolajasny from winning this Rising
He's
Star.
been super. He had a very quick. He was only on 10 touches at 3/4 time.
Finished with 17 and 2 goals.
Yeah.
So he's a very, very smooth mover.
He is, boys.
Who are we tipping?
What is the tip that you will provide for us?
Jeez, everything points to Gold Coast for me, but Patterson Stadium makes me worried. I'm going to say Gold Coast, 10 points I think. But
Do you always steal my tips?
I don't.
No, you're always
You
doing
steal
it
mine.
because he tips what you tip. There's no chance
Oh,
of
yeah.
losing. No, think about it. For the rest of the year, he's got 4 on me.
This is why I'm tipping first, even though it doesn't say your tip on my range. Anyway, Gold Coast by 10 points, but I give West Coast a huge chance.
What about you, Josh? Do you tip
What do you
Gold
reckon,
Coast by
Josh?
10
Gold
points and
Coast
you
by,
West Coast?
Gold Coast by 10.
And you give West Coast a huge chance? Or no chance?
I just can't tip West Coast with who they've beaten. They've given me no reason to tip them.
Fair enough.
All right, fair enough. Yep. I don't know, to be honest. I have no idea at the moment. I don't know. West Coast. I'm going to go West Coast.
Okay.
The reason I say that is because it's at Patterson's.
Yeah, that's.
I think that is an advantage. They have to win this. The supporter base is up in arms. The players are beside themselves.
Yep.
And let's remind ourselves that for 2 quarters, they were with Hawthorn. They were
Yep.
beating Hawthorn. If
Yep.
they can produce that footy for 2 more, they'll win. Yeah, all right. I'll go West Coast by 10.
10 points.
Next
Okay. Brisbane versus GWS. It's a Saturday night blockbuster.
Blockbuster.
7:40 at the Gabba. Last time these two teams played, it was Brisbane by 60 points.
Game of the round.
They're
Josh
going.
Picard.
They're going for 3 in a row. They're turning it on, the Brisbane Lions.
It was always going to take time under Lepper.
Yep.
There was a few crazy moves that he...
Some silly decisions early.
And he still makes them. He
does.
still makes them. Zach O'Brien came on, was out of side, and he started him as the sub again.
Yeah.
And he still hasn't given Nick Robertson a game, despite an out of sight performance for the first few games. But we love you, Lepper, because you've given us a couple of good games to watch. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Rowan Buick's best game for the club,
For sure.
easily by a country mile. 30 disposals and a goal.
Josh Green is a very good player. Taken at pick 32 in 2010, he was played as a midfielder for his childhood. He was the captain of Tasmania. He's been played as...
Really?
Yeah, he was. He was. Very good leadership potential. Had 15 disposals laid... he averages 15 disposals and 3 tackles a game and 4 inside 50s. He's a handy little pocket rocket. He doesn't miss. He's good at pressure situations, and I think they found someone very valuable.
One thing with Josh Green is do not let him get behind you because you won't catch him.
He's very, very quick.
You
And
won't
same
catch
with the magnificent Dane Zorko. They call
Dane
him.
Zorko.
Yes.
Jack, I was about to call him Jarryd then. Jack Redden is an absolute out-and-out gun.
He is.
And anyone that knows me, I don't use that word very often, but he is an out-and-out gun.
Yeah.
26 disposals and 2 goals.
He's a star.
That does not get the recognition. Everyone talks about Brisbane Lions and they think, Tom Rockcliffe, and that's it.
Yeah.
But Jack Redden is an absolute gun.
Just quickly on Tom Rockcliffe. What about his work off the ball? He only had 18 disposals. He laid 11 tackles.
Yep.
He's just a monster.
Yep.
That's all I'm going to say about Tom Rockcliffe.
Well, he is. Stephen Martin's game against...
A Hailery boy.
Against Will Minton.
Shout out there.
I have to get that out. It was absolutely fantastic for him to come in. He's going to have to shoulder most of the ruck work for the rest of the year.
And he did a spectacular job.
He did a spectacular job. GWS boys, I watched them very closely Saturday night, obviously, against my boys. There's one player there who I feel is pushing elite status already.
Adam Treloar.
Adam Treloar is absolutely
Brilliant
flying at the moment.
Yeah.
A Noble Park boy.
He's burning. He's heat at the moment.
He is.
He's on fire.
27 disposals and 3 goals against the Bombers on Saturday night. Absolutely magnificent.
He reminds me a lot of Joel Selwood, to be honest.
Yeah.
A lot of Joel Selwood. Because he's a very, very tough nut inside mid. And he kicks those goals and, he's good by foot as well. So look out for him.
One other one is Devon Smith. I feel like he's having a brilliant year as well. He had 33 disposals and a goal also.
33 disposals.
Might have had an Academy Award with that performance on the weekend as well. Nice little dive at 3/4 time there, Devon. But anyway.
I remember that.
But one thing that is letting him down is his disposal efficiency. He went at 50% on Saturday night. So.
Well, you do see that with the younger kids. Joe Watson had that problem when he first started out. Several good footballers. Toby Green still has it. So maybe Devon, at least he's getting a lot of the ball and he's kicking goals. So. Producer Westhoff.
Up at the Gabba, the Brisbane Lions going for 3 in a row. 16th versus 18th. I reckon Brisbane by 22 points.
What about you, Jay Lopez?
Jay Lopez?
Yeah.
Brisbane by 5 goals.
Yep.
3 in a row.
Yep, same Brisbane. Good form. Zorko, Rockcliffe, Redden, Johnny Brown.
By how many points?
Big Brown.
How many points, Vinay?
They're going to get it done, boys. They're going to get it done.
What's your tip?
They're going to get it done.
What's your
They're going to
tip?
win the game. 30 points.
Thank you.
Adelaide versus North Melbourne, 7:40 Saturday at Adelaide Oval. Last time these two teams played, it was Adelaide by 9 points. They really took it up to the Dockers, did the Adelaide Crows.
For a half.
West Coast syndrome, Essendon syndrome. Although Essendon have lifted in the past couple of weeks. Continue.
4 over the last 5. But anyway, we'll get to that later.
Yep.
What I feel is wrong with Adelaide is 2 things.
Yes.
Far too inconsistent, obviously, captain obvious.
Oh, for sure.
Far too inconsistent, but not enough players are standing up when the chips are down. When the opposition gets a run on, there's probably only 1 or 2 players I can think of that stand up and say, hey, let's get back into the game.
Yep.
Patrick Dangerfield's one of them.
And the other
Batman Sloan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not enough players say, let's pick it up, boys.
Oh, yep. For sure. I definitely thought they were in it for a half and then Fremantle just, run away with it. They were always favourites, of course, Fremantle. But you're right. One highlight, though, Charlie Cameron had his best game for the club.
Yep.
Kicked 3 goals. He's a star.
1 of 5.
Pardon?
1 of 5.
Yep. What do you mean?
He's on.
Oh, he's on. Okay, sorry. I thought you meant 1 of 5 goals. Yeah, well, he's already played a very good game, I think.
3 of 7.
Small forwards are difficult to, especially early on. They're very easily negated because, they don't have the size. But he's good. He was taken in the rookie draft. Came from Western Australia. He averaged 4 tackles and 7 pressure acts a game for Swan Districts. Yep. So he's got a bit of a Cyril Rioli kind of feel about him.
Oh, hello.
Yep, and he kicked 3 goals, 1, and I think we'll see a lot more from this guy.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Boys, North Melbourne, deplorable first half. That game was...
It was a weird game of football.
That was, I think one of the writers on our page said it was perfect description. The head case cut.
Yep.
I think we said last week that we had no idea what was going to happen in this game. Absolutely anything could have happened.
No. I mean, I was I didn't watch the first half, gladly, because Richmond were in front. But I wasn't watching the first half of the third quarter, and all of a sudden I'm seeing it on my phone.
Yep. Same. Yeah. I switched off at half time. Yeah, Richmond's going to win.
But the North are in front.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what
the hell's happening?
I didn't do what either of you did. I turned on at quarter time. I saw a great Richmond quarter, and then the third quarter was just a polar opposite. It was incredible. North Melbourne. Brent Harvey said at half time, he's going in, he's getting his post-half interview, and they're saying, what's going to happen in the second half? He's going, we're never out of it, we're always going to come back. And you're going, oh yeah, they always say that, whatever. North Melbourne came back with a vengeance in that third quarter. They kicked something like...
8 goals.
8 goals to 1. Every single every single thing was going their way. I touched on earlier how Richmond were giving away silly free kicks, but it was the pressure that North Melbourne were putting on. Drew Petrie turned it on in that quarter. Brent Harvey turned it on in that quarter. Brent Harvey's sitting on his butt getting treated by the trainer for an injury. As soon as the ball comes his way, up he gets, perfect inside 50, sets up a mark inside 50.
Was he injured?
Maybe not.
Probably just getting a run down. Boomer, the old legs, but wheelie waggly.
Whatever Brad Scott said to them at halftime, he needs to keep saying to them because that was incredible.
I think he made a very bold move, and it was probably the right move at halftime.
The sub at halftime?
Was taking Majak Dor off. Majak needs a spell.
He definitely needs a spell. And I tell you what, I might just give it away to those who know what it is, but he's getting my Scotty nomination this week.
Oh, no.
He's getting the Scotty nomination this week. I'm going to go to town on him.
Just an inside joke.
Yeah, we'll touch on that later. But he was deplorable. His fitness fills me with woe. Boys, he cannot run out a full game. He just can't.
No, he can't.
He can't.
He's struggling big time.
He's got the talent. He's a very, very, he's a big man. He's obviously very tall. He's got a bit of pace about him. He's strong, but he's just not showing anything, to be honest.
Levi Greenwood, boys, having an outstanding year. He got his chance at the start of the year. Through
both hands, he's taken it with.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done. At the head of an injury. I love that. I love it. Don't spit that water.
Anyway,
there we go. He's averaged 25 disposals this year. He's been absolutely outstanding. He's added another big body into that midfield. He was always much maligned. His career was on the line at the start of the year. And as I said, taking it with both hands.
For sure, yeah.
Andrew Swallow. It's taken him a couple of weeks to get going. Always going to.
Yeah,
but always. He had 29 disposals, 7 tackles.
There's another leader that I want to say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He stood up when the team needed it to be.
Yep.
And as we spoke about earlier, Richmond's didn't. Todd Goldstein also, I feel, had his best game for the year. He had 43 hit-outs, 20 disposals and a goal against Ivan Maric.
Well, we won that ruck contest, for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Who are we tipping, boys?
Geez, this is another one where you think the home ground advantage could be a big factor in the game. I think North Melbourne are just pointing. It's just pointing to North Melbourne for me. They're just that third quarter especially was just so impressive. I was so proud of them really that they could really just come back like that. It was exceptional.
So who are you tipping?
North Melbourne by 5 points. I'm going to say.
Okay.
It would be great to see them continue that kind of form and get a win on the road this week.
Correct. North Melbourne has not lost on the road this year.
Yep, I think they're better out of the.
Yeah,
they're better interstate than they are.
Absolutely, two wins at Patterson's.
Yep.
One in Sydney. The only team that beat Port Adelaide, so they like the interstate teams, and that's why I'm tipping them. 29 points.
Same. North love interstate matches. I think they'll get done. 20 points, I'd say.
Geelong versus St Kilda, 1:10 Sunday at Simmons Stadium. Last time these two teams played, Geelong won by 101 points.
Is that all?
Is that all? Geelong have won the last 4 encounters between these two teams. Tommy Hawkins.
Oh, here we go. I was going to let him in, but he got in before me.
Tommy Colossus Hawkins.
He's a big man.
He monsters every defender that you throw at him. You throw Sam Rowe at him, he threw him away like a rag doll, like Ben Reid in the 2011 Grand Final. It was brilliant to watch. That second quarter, he kicked 4 goals. Outside of his goals, Josh is taking the mickey here.
No. You just mentioned someone that I'd like to talk about in the next game, that's all.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, outside of his goals, his presence around the ground, which Vinay will back me up here, is exceptional. I think he took 6 marks inside 50, 4 or 5 of them were contested. He always looks for that hand pass. He doesn't just turn around, be selfish with the ball and take the shots. He always looks for that better option. And it was brilliant to see. I think he is the most consistent tall forward in the competition right now. I think he's the best performing tall forward in the competition right now. And I think he will win the Coleman medal.
Fair call based on his past few...
He's only 2 times this season has he kicked less than 3 goals in a game. It's just been 4-3-3, 4-4, 5. It's brilliant.
Bang, 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 bang.
Bang.
Absolutely. George Holland-Smith, Nick. I've absolutely loved his season. He's a weird-looking bloke.
Is he? He is, yeah. He doesn't really...
That's a bit harsh.
He can play football. That's all that matters.
Guthrie's a weird look. He's got a big bloody mop on his head.
In the pre-season, there was 3 midfielders. Geelong are desperate for an inside midfielder right now. There's 3 midfielders you looked at. It was George Holland-Smith, Jordan Schroeder, and Jesse Stringer.
Schroeder. Jordan Schroeder.
And it really wasn't clear which one of them would get the opportunities this year and would cement their spot on the side. Because with Joel Corey leaving, there was that position open. George Holland-Smith is far and above best 22 right now. I think he's probably in our best 5 or 6 performing players this year.
That's a big blow.
Big call.
You got Selwood, Barter. All right, we won't go into that. But yeah, continue.
In the Geelong player voting that I give on my page there, he's top 5 at the moment. He's been brilliant. He's coming along nicely.
It will be a good find for sure.
Over 20 disposals most weeks. He's a great tackler. He used to be a little bit slow, but he looks like he's improved on that. His fitness level seems to be improved, so he's doing well.
Alan Christensen, Nick.
Best on ground in the VFL.
Hang on, I haven't finished.
Haven't finished?
I'll talk to you about St Kilda. Don't worry, I haven't left you out of this conversation.
No, it's okay.
Alan Christensen, mate. He made his first game back for the Geelong VFL side in that 3-point win over Port Melbourne.
Coming back from back surgery.
Gave Port Melbourne their first loss of the year, so that was a good win by the Geelong boys. 18 disposals and 13 tackles.
Yeah.
Does he have one more game or does he come straight back in?
Jesus, I'd say it's 50-50. Both him and the coach have said they won't rush him back. But after that game, when we're so desperate for an inside midfielder, I guess we're coming up against St Kilda. You'd think they'd expect to win this week. Maybe they could afford to play him and maybe sub him off.
I reckon they'd start him as the sub.
Or they'd start him as the sub. You know, you can manage the output against a team like St Kilda when you'd expect to win. But 50-50, I really can't tell what they're thinking there.
Yep.
Boys, keep going.
Couple of other players I really want to quickly touch on. Quickly.
Come on, Gizman. We've spent
trying to keep it under an hour.
3 hours on bloody Geelong.
Okay. Thurlow, Kolodashny, Hartman, Lang, Jansen, all very, very good. Kirsten is another one. There's about 5 players there who are just threatening to debut, and I reckon we will see a debut this week. I'm hoping it's Jarryd Jansen.
On to St Kilda.
St Kilda.
The Saints, they're going to come marching into our discussion eventually, and now they will.
Go on.
St Kilda fans will like that one.
I'm glad they will.
I know the 3 boys you want to talk about. I know exactly who they
Because you've
are.
looked at my notes?
Yes. Nick Riewoldt,
Yes.
Luke Dunstan,
Yes.
and Lenny Hayes.
Yes, well done.
Lenny Hayes is one that I really want to touch on. Age is not wearied him. He's sort of like a Boomer Harvey at the moment.
He's getting better. He's like a fine wine.
He is. He has played an absolutely exceptional season for St Kilda. One of the only midfielders that's been consistent, to be honest. He's probably the only midfielder that's consistently played well. Montagne's had a couple of quiet games. Jack Stephen has been good without being spectacular.
Yep.
And Lukey Dunstan is only in his first year, so you're not going to be expecting him 25 plus from him every game.
Yeah.
Lenny Hayes has stood up. He's played really, really well, along with Nick Riewoldt. Again, he kicked, 3 goals, I think, on the weekend?
Including his 600th career goal.
600th. That is a big milestone.
Outstanding.
We saw Pavlich do it a couple of weeks ago.
We saw Franklin do it a couple of
And
weeks
we
ago.
saw Franklin.
Jonathan Brown as well, I think.
Yeah.
So you're seeing the big boys all get to their 600. And again, age won't worry him either. I think he'll be a good force.
He's averaging the most disposals he's had since their grand final year of 2010.
Yeah.
Where he won the Norm Smith medal.
Correct. He also takes the most
In the
marks.
first grand final.
He also takes the most marks outside forward 50 of any forward in the AFL. Any stay-at-home forward in the AFL.
Riewoldt.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I was talking about Hayes.
Oh, sorry, I'm talking about Nick Riewoldt.
I was saying Lenny's average
More disposals than his grand final year.
Yeah.
Nick Riewoldt also has been very good. And he averages more marks outside 50 than any other key forward. So that tells you a lot about his work around the grounds. Luke Dunstan up there in the
Rising star. He went at pick 18, that's a steal.
That is a bloody steal. He's a man-child.
Contested ball-winning machine he is. A clearance-winning machine.
And tackling. How did he have on the weekend, Josh? 12?
You're testing me here.
You're the stats man.
He had 12 tackles on the weekend.
You sure?
I'm quite sure he had
Vinay's
12.
decided,
I think Dylan said that he had 12. So I'm gonna
He was taking the piss there. I remember.
Okay, so he didn't have 12.
Won't believe anything he says anymore. Who are we tipping,
Thank you,
boys?
Dylan. I am going to
One
tip
word.
the Geelong Cats by, where is it? Simmons. 80 points.
80 points.
What is with you two picking around within 5
All right,
points?
83 points. Happy?
So that's closer.
What do you mean close?
You picked 80.
I didn't see your tip. How am I supposed to know?
Geelong by 82.
We won by 101 points last time. I'm going to pick us by 101 again this time.
Oh, wobble, wobble.
101. That's
Tell you
insane.
what.
Wobble.
Josh Caddy back in the VFL this week.
Boom.
Oh, there's a
ding.
Ding.
Collingwood
Collingwood versus the Western Bulldogs, 3:20 Sunday at Etihad Stadium. Last time these two teams met, it was Collingwood by 34 points. Collingwood have won the last 9 encounters between these two teams.
I don't agree with one journalist very often, especially this guy,
Who is he?
Damien Barrett.
Okay.
But
I was about to say someone else. That's good.
he is right on the money with the Western Bulldogs at the moment. They are the most irrelevant side in the competition at the moment.
To be fair, Damien Barrett says that about every side once they start playing poorly.
No, he doesn't.
He does. When Sydney started playing poorly, they're out of grand final.
Well, in this case, he might have hit the nail on the head.
Bulldogs are playing some of the worst football they have in about 3-4 years. No one's talking about it.
I don't agree that they're playing their worst football in 3 or 4 years.
No?
To be honest, no. I think they
Really?
really put up... I've watched every game they've played this year.
Because they played in preliminary finals in the last 3 or 4 years.
Yes, but what I'm saying is I've watched every game they've played. I honestly think they were worse last year. Although they won 8 games last year. And a lot of people are going, oh, well, they've got to win the 8 games this year, otherwise they've gone backwards.
Which they have.
I honestly think, that, to be honest, they really took it to Fremantle. And against Brisbane, you know, they were the favourites and they almost came back together. But Brisbane is just one of those sides that you don't know what to expect from them. They've got a good list. They've obviously got a better forward line than the Bulldogs.
Yes.
And they've probably got a better defence than the Bulldogs as well. So, you know, Brisbane are one of those unpredictable teams. I honestly think the Bulldogs are not that bad. And one man I want to touch on is Liam Picken.
Yep.
He had 19 disposals, a goal and 6 tackles on the weekend. His tagging efforts have been brilliant. In my book, he's the best tagger this year so far. You want some of his scalps. He's taken out Ablett, Bernie Vince, Joe Watson, Patrick Dangerfield. He has gone to all these men and kept them...
I'm just trying to think of other tags for the competition, so keep going.
well, he's kept all of them well below their standard.
McCaffrey's been alright.
McCaffrey's been good as well. But Liam Picken, I'm just saying that, you know, he's one of those guys you wouldn't have expected much from the start of the year. Yep. Brett McCaffrey, people know who he is, what he does, but he's been very good this year, and I think that he does deserve some mention.
We might be seeing a bit hard on the Western Bulldogs at the moment, but I just feel some of their players that are playing right now are not up to standard, of AFL standard. Christian Howard, I don't think's up to standard.
I don't know why he was in the team, to be honest.
Jason Tutt, I don't think's up to standard. He's got very good pace.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
But that's about it.
I think Joe Hannison needs to get in there. He had 4 goals and 30-odd touches, I think, on the weekend. So
Another thing that absolutely baffles me is Daniel Gian Syracuse starting as a sub every single week.
Well,
he's leading their... I believe he's up there in their leading goal kicker.
I think the big reason for that is the fact that he does come on so late. He's fresh. Every other defender is dead tired.
But the thing is, they're struggling to kick goals. He's a goal kicker.
You're right.
He's a proven goal kicker.
You're right. Yeah, you've got to play him on the field.
You've got to play him.
And you're right in the sense that why not try it?
Exactly.
Why not just try? What are you going to lose from trying it? That's what I don't get either. You're right.
I think you lose about 60 minutes of time you could have put into a young player who will be there for the next 10 years, which Gian Syracuse won't.
If he's on your list and can kick goals, he plays. Simple as that.
I think it's similar to what Sydney are doing with Ryan O'Keefe at the moment.
Ryan O'Keefe's not playing at all, though.
He is. He's playing in the NEFL.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that he's
not even sub. He's just out of the team.
He's out of the team.
But I think they're being treated in similar ways. I feel that they're good, but they're too old, and they feel they need a blood youngsters. You know, you could argue that Cunningham's keeping O'Keefe out of the side.
Sydney are in a position to do that, though.
Bulldogs aren't. Yep.
Bulldogs still need that experience.
Yep. Liberatore, you know, I say it every single week. This man has now laid, I think it is 56 tackles in 5 weeks.
Yeah.
So, you know, the usual suspects are trying.
The Collingwood Magpies, they beat the Demons today, being Monday.
Yep.
They really got challenged for a big part of that game, but they came away with the goods in the end.
Absolutely. I think Clinton Young's last few weeks have been absolutely
26
fantastic.
possessions, 13 marks.
Today, Jake Frost and Lockie Keefe, they're going to hold down the key position post for the rest of the year now with Nathan Brown out, despite Brian Taylor thinking that they were keeping Nathan Brown out of the side, but Nathan Brown's out for the rest of the year, BT. Maybe take a bit more notice about what's going on.
Yeah.
There's a whack. But,
what about our good man, Ben Reid?
Ben Reid played his first game in the VFL on the weekend.
That's good news.
Yeah.
That is very good news. I do like Ben Reid. He's a good
to
player.
kicked 2 goals, I believe, and got through unscathed, so that's fantastic to hear.
Good on your Breedy.
Speaking about VFL, we did miss it in the first game, but Chris Judd also got through.
How did you go?
Yeah, he got through. He played well.
Okay.
Played well, so I reckon he might come in against the Hawks, so there's a big
That'd be a massive hit.
So we missed that one. That's bad by us. But Collingwood, what I like about them is their list is very, very good. Yep. Very, very good. The depth that they have
is almost as good as Hawthorn, probably.
Almost as good as Hawthorn. I'd go as far as to say the best in the competition.
Josh Thomas, Sam Dwyer, I'd agree with you actually, to be honest.
Yep. Is the best in the competition.
I'd agree with that, yep.
Obviously, Paddy Carnesis as well, injured at the moment. But he was fantastic in the VFL before coming down with injury. But Benny Reid, I reckon he'll have a couple more weeks in the VFL before coming in. But once he comes in...
That team will be the one to beat.
Oh, yeah.
Top 4.
Not quite the one to beat,
Top
but
4.
they'll be up there.
Well, you boys didn't even have them in your top
Well,
4.
the top 4 now. They're sitting 4th.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Who are we tipping?
I am going to go Collingwood by about
Team
5.
and margin.
Well, I was just about to do that.
Team and margin.
Like,
Come on.
interrupted him. Collingwood by 30 points. Thanks for letting me finish this time.
Collingwood by 45.
Just about to bloody do it.
Collingwood by 40 for me.
Tell you
Last
what.
game of the round, it's
Recap.
Essendon versus Melbourne, 4:40 Sunday at the MCG. Last time these two teams played, it was Essendon by 148
Are those Anthony pants
points.
there, Josh?
Well, we are getting to the time.
To the fag end, to the
what?
Melbourne.
To the fag end. It's a proverb.
Righto.
Melbourne have won 3
The
of
fag, have you never-
Melbourne have won 3 of the last 4 against the Bombers. Are you worried, Josh?
I am.
You are.
I am.
What you doing?
Essendon won last time by 148 points.
But Melbourne won the 3 before that.
And King Jobulus, the king.
Will miss
Who
the
is
season.
Who is he, Josh?
Joe Watson.
Yes, I call him King Jobulus the king because he is a king.
Okay.
He is out for 8 to 10 weeks.
I reckon we won't see him again this year.
That fills me with a lot of disappointment because although I'm very critical of Essendon, he's one of my favourite players, not just at Essendon, but just in the AFL in general.
Yep.
And I think they will feel that. His leadership is paramount. I can't see any other leaders in that team apart from Goddard. And maybe... Who else is a leader in that team? You help me out here, Josh.
Oh, Stanton is.
Stanton. Come on.
Scraping the barrel here.
You were really scraping the back. We're really digging deep.
Oh, Paul Chapman.
Brendan's got Paul Chapman, okay, there we go. There's a proper guy that I'd be willing to respect as a leader. I look at Brent Stanton, I think, yeah, well...
Tell us what you really think.
He is very, very verbal on the train.
Okay, alright.
And on the ground. So
Alright, so he'll be the captain, won't he? He'll be the filling.
yes, he'll be the standing captain.
Okay, so, you know...
I believe. Dyson Heppel as well is a very good leader.
Yep. You'd think they'd win. You know, Essendon have got the midfield depth to be able... You know, they've still got... You think Watson's out, they've still got, what, Goddard, Heppel, Howlett goes in there as well.
Myers will go in there.
Is he out for a week?
No, he got a
He got let off, okay, so yeah, and Myers... They've still got the talent to fill in the gaps. Chapman, maybe? No?
Chapman might spend a bit more time in the midfield just as an extra body.
Yeah.
A big body, sorry. But I can't see him spending too much time.
I think Zach Merritt got a gig in the midfield, did he? Against GWS?
I am absolutely
Here we go.
amazed by that kid. Steal of the draft.
So I don't think Watson's exclusion will hit them that hard in terms of their structures.
It will in the long term.
Oh, okay, all right.
Going against the better, no disrespect to Melbourne, even though
The
result,
top sides, yeah.
the top sides, it'll show.
You sort of look at it and you think Essendon maybe a sneaky chance was to sort of push the finals, but now with Joe gone, it will be really hard for
Well,
them.
Watson's one of the guys that lifts under pressure. He's the captain.
Yeah.
He marshals his troops and he says, let's pull our fingers out and get this game back on track. So that's going to hurt them.
One other player I want to touch on. I was very, very exciting watching this boy on Saturday night before we get to the Demons.
JD.
Joe Daniher. He kicked 3 goals, 4, took 9 marks, 6 of those were contested, and 7 inside 50. A lot of people say that it's against GWS, but this kid is 19 years old, and he was absolutely phenomenal on the weekend. I've gone through every other side. There's probably 2 or 3 other contenders that could challenge him for the Rising Star nomination this week. I'll be absolutely staggered if he doesn't get it.
Joe Dunn, I don't agree with this logic that a player's performance is moot because they did it against a GWS or whatever.
Yeah.
If you play well, you've played well.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. On Brownlow night, they don't say, 3 votes GWS, but it was against GWS, so, we're just going to give you the 1 vote for this game. It's the stupidest logic I've ever heard. If you do well, you play well. And like you mentioned, his last 3 games, actually, against Richmond, he was very good. And he's one for the future, for sure. He is only 19.
Yep.
I'd go as far as say he's one of the best 19-year-olds in the comp, to be honest.
I hope so.
He's a very, very good player, and I think that he's going to be key. He's building himself up to be a very good key forward in the coming years.
Boys, the Melbourne Footy Club, they got done by Collingwood today.
You look at it from one side and you think they really took it up to Collingwood and they were a massive chance to win the game, but on the other
It was a
hand,
pain to watch.
they kicked 3 goals for the game.
3 goals, 10. However, what I feel was they were still in the game at 3/4 time, but if they were to win that game, they needed to risk losing by what they did to win that game.
Correct.
They took a few risks, missed their opportunities in front of goal. I think Jack Viney missed one, Cam Pedersen missed one, Jay Kenny Harris missed one.
Jay Kennedy Harris there was a big mistake in the third quarter when there was an easy sitter mark he should have taken, and that just showed
Beams kicked the goal.
Yeah, the pressure of the occasion. A young kid like that, those are going to happen. It won't be the last time that happens for the Demons this season.
Well, as I've said here, I've written a dot point. Good lesson for the D's versus Collingwood.
Yeah,
they fought hard. A few of their players got the tag pretty heavy. Dom Tyson got the tag on McCaffer. Many probably wouldn't have thought that. Many would have thought probably McCaffer would have gone to Jones or Vince, but he went to Dom Tyson. So that's a good lesson for Dom Tyson.
Well, Tyson just does not win enough inside ball.
No.
I'm sorry, but you stick a tag on him, he's useless. I'll go as far as saying. He got a cop to tag a couple of weeks ago. It was just awful.
Yeah.
He's purely an outside ball winner. And that's probably why they tagged him.
Yeah.
Because Nathan Jones, you tag him, he's still an inside ball winner. He'll still get clearances. He'll still get the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he needs to lift his game, to be honest.
Yeah. One other thing before we give our tips is that Paul Roos has said it's time we came to a game to win, not just to fight hard. And I think they showed signs of that today, although we said they fought hard. I think we saw signs today that they came there to win. So that's good.
Maybe once there's some key forwards in that side, we can see some really improvement.
Jesse Hogan, I can't wait to see him. I hope he debuts this year.
Who are we tipping, guys?
Tips. Nick, you're first.
I've gone Essendon by 21 points. I think Melbourne will take it up to them once again, but Essendon will get through it in the end. But
you go.
You go.
No, because my tip is based on the reasoning for your tip.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've just got this weird feeling that Melbourne will get up.
You gonna tip?
I am.
There we go.
I don't think Josh has gotten many Essendon tips wrong this year. Honestly, he knows his team well. He very rarely gets an Essendon tip wrong.
I'm just thinking through. I got the first one wrong.
Yeah.
That was North Melbourne.
Correct. You tipped North.
You think yours and think through your tip and I'll...
Damn it, I have no clue. I actually am stumped right now. I'm going to go Essendon.
Yep.
I think they'll win. I think they're the better side, honestly.
And
Melbourne's Melbourne's forward line only managed 3 goals today. Essendon's defence is one of the best in the AFL.
Yeah.
And I think they'll struggle even more against that defence. That's going to clinch it for me. I'm going to go Essendon by about 20.
My tip could change depending on who comes in.
Yeah. Look out for it on Friday on AFL Season Information, Off-Season News.
We're done.
We're done. Another show Beyond the Boundary.
The weekly pat on the head after we're done.
Oh, thank you. Our Twitter handles...
Guyson at JRickard1991, at VKLax.
What's up here, Josh?
BT, see, right here.
Send us an email if you have any inquiries.
AFL@live.com.au.
You got it right this week. Hit the subscribe
What do
button.
you mean got it right this week?
You didn't do this.
I didn't do it last week either.
Hit the subscribe button
He said
in
you
the top
sucked off
right
there,
hand
Josh.
side.
He said you were terrible.
I know.
Have a go.
No.
I'm trying to stir crap on
Almost got 300 subscribers. Would love for you to be the 300.
Really?
If you haven't already. Almost there.
Fantastic.
Getting big. I'm going to thank Valium.
They've been great.
Thank you, Valium. Very good. Yeah, always supporting us.
I'm going to thank our producer, Justin Westhoff. And I tell you what, there's still a big offer on from the Richmond Tigers. If you hit that like button, the 2-year deal, it's still on the table. They could really use some cattle. Damien Hardwick's job might be up for grabs as well. So hit the like button. We'll see what we can do.
I tell you what, I'd almost avoid pressing the like button with the right airplane.
But please press it. We'd really like it.
If you press the like button, Lepich will drop someone this week that you didn't expect he'd drop.
Rockcliffe.
He'll drop Rockcliffe this week, yeah. He'll do it.
Alright boys, thanks for joining me as always. We'll see you again next Monday night.
Pleasure.
Hope West Coast win, although I don't because I tipped Gold Coast. Hope the Cats win.
Oh, they will.
I hope I'm proven wrong. I mean, I could change my tip on
probably will.
Friday, but
Coward. Chicken. Never goes against the flow.
okay, I might stick with that. Anyway, we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us.